other phone here. Freaking thing, I have to have two phones for this fucking place.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like sitting over here.
wait a minute. It's already live.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking in Circles with your host, Adrian Alexander, here at the Nice Guy Andy podcast. To my immediate left, I have the host of the Nice Guy Andy podcast, Mr. Nice Guy Andy Watkins himself.
Three.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
There I am.
Bring it on up. Oh, there we are.
I won't be staying very long, guys. I got some stuff I got to go do, but I appreciate you guys coming.
Absolutely. To my immediate right, I have Superfly Johnny Lee himself.
What's up? What's up?
And my guest for this evening, he is none other than the voice of New South Wrestling, the voice of Elite Wrestling Alliance, the voice of many, many, many other organizations all across the country. He is Mr. Aaron Tiny Rose.
Hello, hello. How's everybody doing this evening?
Aaron's everywhere. Every time I go to a wrestling show, he's always there.
I try.
So tonight is going to be all about Mr. Aaron Rose. Tonight is also going to be slightly distracted by the fact that we have AEW big business going on right now. I am super, super excited about this show. I know everybody else is too. We're all really excited. There's a lot of hype, a lot of drama surrounding this show, so we may be slightly distracted by the big TV over here. Hope you all are watching this alongside the Nice Guy Andy podcast tonight. We'll all check it out together. This is like a live reactions / get to know Aaron Rose podcast.
Now, can I say real quick that I love this new setup that they have?
Absolutely.
Oh, it's awesome, ain't it?
It's amazing.
It is. And we're
whoa, are they kicking it off?
We're starting off
Holy
fresh with the
crap.
debut of Mercedes Moné.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. She's
wow.
coming right out. She's
This
coming right out here,
This is
ain't she?
exciting.
That is awesome.
Mercedes Moné.
Wow, right off the bat, y'all.
Yeah, the entrance is the new entrance is cool.
It's almost as cool as EWA's entrance. Almost. Almost.
I really like the arched lightway there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Wow, that's huge. Like
Which way did she come in?
Right off the cusp.
Which side did she come in?
The babyface, I
Baby,
believe.
Yeah.
she came in as the baby. Yeah,
the right side there.
yeah,
Yeah. Their left, our right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Stage left. Stage left. Aaron.
Stage
Come on,
left.
Stage
Yes.
left.
Yes.
All right, so with
She's
that,
definitely a star. She's definitely a
Absolutely,
star.
That
absolutely.
is- wow.
So, starting off with this exciting start to AEW, let's kick off Talking in Circles. Mr. Aaron Rose, let's get to know a little bit about you. How long have you been doing wrestling announcing?
I have been in the wrestling business since 2007. So we are coming up on, 17 years.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah. Now there was a little gap in there, but I
This is
intermit.
wrestling. We don't count gaps.
Okay. All right. Then 17 years.
Yeah.
Golly, almost 20 years. I feel old, gentlemen. I feel really old now.
Well, Aaron, let's before we dive into how you started in wrestling, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Broadcasting, commentary, announcing, that's always been in your blood, right?
It has. As a matter of fact, it goes all the way back to my senior year of high school. I'd always had a passion for it. I always had a passion. Heck, I had a passion to be in front of a crowd when I was in elementary school. We did, I kid you not, in elementary school, we had a talent show, and everybody in the school, it was open to anybody who wanted to do anything. What did I want to do? I wanted to MC the dang thing. So my dad and myself and another classmate of mine, we all got together, and my dad wrote the script for it. And it was great. We even did like a disclaimer, like you would see in Major League Baseball. Everything you see here is owned by Major League Baseball. You cannot use this without the express written consent. All that stuff. We did that, but had an absolute blast doing it. So yeah, that that's where it started, was at freaking elementary school. But, we fast forward to my my junior year of high school. I started working at the Lexington Legends. That was my very first job. How cool is that? Awesome. I was an usher, just got to take in the ball games. I worked a few concerts. It was pretty cool. And then the fall of that first year, that's when we found out we were getting another hockey team. It was the second team that we had, the Lexington Men of War. And I was a member of the Ice Patrol. That first year, that's when we found out we were getting
Which one is it? The Bluetooth?
Yeah.
All right.
That scared me. I hear myself from the past.
I wanted to talk to some of the commenters.
But it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool because when I started working for that team, I was part of the Ice Patrol. I was one of the goofballs that shot T-shirts into the crowd, and they did have a couple announcers. I did try out for the PA announcer. I didn't get it. Actually, the person who got that job, his name was Neil Jackson, who was also a ring announcer in Kentucky for a while.
That's neat.
So he got that, and then there was an in-crowd position that they had, and a radio DJ got that, and there was one game that she showed up.
Maybe a little bit inebriated.
And she got fired on the spot. The GM comes to me and says, "Hey, kid, you want to be our in-crowd announcer for tonight?" Sure, let's give it a go. So my first experience at Rupp Arena was as a senior in high school. I got to announce as a senior in high school at Rupp Arena for the Lexington Men of War. And that kind of added to it. And then I ended up actually being the PA announcer for Woodford County Baseball.
Wow. So let's take a second and talk about that. So, you find out the night of you're going to do your first announcing.
Oh yeah.
Walk me through that. Like, were you nervous? Were you like, oh no, I got this? Like what, walk me through how you had no time to prepare at all.
No time to prepare because it was 20 minutes before game time. And we were actually getting ready to go out and do our pregame entertainment, shoot some shirts into the crowd, get everybody hyped up. And then, we were ready to rock. But then that's when she walked in, and I was like, oh, okay, well, let's do it. I'm in. And, I was scared. I wasn't ready because, I had spoken in front of 300-400 people before, never in front of 5,000, So, and it was actually one of the larger attended nights that I started that. So, but after I got done with the first one, it went okay. The first segment I did, it went okay. The second segment
lifted a little bit, and now you're getting comfortable.
Oh yeah, getting hyped, and then it just kept going from there. Mm-hmm. So back to the Legends. I was, let's see here, my second year out there. I was an usher, but then I also got pulled into the media department, which, again, this is right up my alley. Mm-hmm. And I got to work with the likes of one Mr. Jack Medler. Jack Medler, me and him worked together. We knew each other for years. For those of you who don't know, Jack Medler, he was a wrestler better known as Austin Medler out of the NWF up in Cincinnati. And, of course, he wrestled for MWA down here as well. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I got to know him a lot more. He was doing some sound, and we had our, I was a cameraman. I got to work the center field cam. I also got to work into the one of the camera wells down by the dugouts. That's the scariest experience you'll ever have, because the number of baseballs that come screaming by you.
I can only imagine. That is hot spot.
Spot. I got very good at ducking. And then...
were you ever actually hit?
I was actually hit during batting practice one time. I was walking out to the bleachers to go clean them, because we did that every game. We would clean all the seats. At the time, when if you were working for the Legends, they have very high standards on how that stadium was maintained. So I was walking out there, and a screamer comes by and just cracks me right in the ankle.
They're back.
What's that?
The Legends
Oh,
are
I know.
Oh, yes, I am so excited
We are
about that.
pumped. We are pumped for that.
I hear there's one counterclock mascot that's a little upset, but other than that, you know.
Well, I mean, he might show up again. I don't know. But you know, it was so I that's the only time I've ever been hit. But I went to the hospital just to be safe because there was some swelling there, and I was like, you know.
So, fun fact, a young Adrian Alexander played catcher in high school.
Oh, did you?
So, I know all about watching 90-mile-an-hour go right into your face.
Yeah, that man. I see. To be a catcher and the same to be a goalie in hockey, you have to have some wits about you to do it. I know you got protection, but that doesn't do much.
No.
You know?
No.
It just softens the blow just a little bit. So, but then I ended up, Alan Stein came to me after my third year. And he said, Aaron, I have an idea for you. I said, what's that, Alan? And here I am. I'm skeptical because Alan has these ideas, right? And he will go through with it. So I'm like, if he has me in mind for something, it's going to happen. So he said, I have an idea. I said, okay. He said, look out to the right side of the bleachers. I said, okay. He said, you see that big empty space right there next to the Doppler radar that we have? I said, yeah. He said, let's put up an out-of-town scoreboard there. And he said, the out-of-town scoreboard is going to be manually operated, so I need somebody to run it. I'm like, okay. And he said, a couple of the ideas I have. Number one, he said, to dress you up like a parrot head, Jimmy Buffett, be out there in the lounge chair, have like the little umbrella hat, have the Hawaiian shirt, a customized Hawaiian Legends jersey, and you would run that. And I was like, okay, that'd be cool. And then he said, or old school baseball player. And I'm like, okay. And he said, there's going to be irony in it. And I said, what's that? He said, your name would be Tiny.
And that is the birth of the
That is
nickname
the birth
Tiny.
of Tiny. So, yes, I went that far back just to let you all know where Tiny came from.
Don't
and
worry,
it stuck with me.
we were gonna get
Yeah.
there. I was gonna bring us there if you didn't touch on it.
Oh, you know I have to hit the origin story.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, Alan was, he was really excited about this project, and in that 05 season, I got to work with, I got to be out there when Hunter Pence was playing for the Legends.
That's awesome.
Hunter Pence cracked homers. Like he set the Legends home run record in half a season.
There was a lot of you getting up and down and changing the scoreboard.
Well,
I guess you were away scoreboard.
Yeah,
so never mind.
But there was a lot of times I would go hunt for his baseballs. I did end up getting his record-breaking home run ball.
That's awesome.
And I said, do you want it? He said, no. He said, you can have it, man. And he said, I'll sign it for you. I said, even better,
That's great.
Hunter was really cool. And there was one time he saved me from getting cracked because he was playing center field and a player for the other team cracked a homer and it was heading right to the scoreboard. And I'm putting scores up. I'm like this, and I hear him yell, "Tiny, don't move!" And then crack right there. I was like, "Oh!" So
wow.
Yeah. So Hunter Pence did save my life from injury.
That is awesome.
And then I did that for a couple years, and then I became their AV intern, so I got really into the media a lot more. It involved the late nights. It really did. I'll tell you what. I want to tell you all what's crazy. Okay, so you have these phones in our hands. How easy is it to get footage, right? Mm-hmm. So what we had to do was our AV director would record like basically every pitch. Mm-hmm. And then we would find the pitch, or find not the pitch, but find the play of the game that we like through our streaming service that we had, right? Now, streaming services are a lot easy. You look at this setup right here, it's easy compared to what we had to do. And it involved a bunch of late nights because to get that clip we wanted, cut it out, put it into the it was like the play of the day brought to you by a very famous restaurant chain. And we had to wait on it to edit down. And you can edit down a video in a matter of 30 seconds on your cell phone, right? Took about 20 minutes for that to edit down. So every night at the ballpark, by the time everybody was gone, all of us AV people, the director and the intern, we were there still trying to get the play of the game put up on the website.
Something that they do now, like I've noticed at the end of pay-per-views, like they've got highlights of the pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah. It's so easy to pull now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the technology is so much better now than it was. Now, that was 07? Yeah, 07 I was doing that. That was my last year at the Legends. And then I got hooked into radio after that.
All right.
So the fall of that year, I graduated from college. And, at that point, my parents were like, Aaron, your insurance is getting ready to end with us. So you need to find a full-time job. And I said, yeah, I can do that.
Where did you go to college?
Actually, I was at LCC. It was Lexington Community College.
Oh, okay.
It was
so you were right there, close to the Legends.
Yeah.
Right in.
Well, actually, no, I was over on UK's campus.
Oh, okay,
because at the time, we were part of UK.
Okay.
So I got a business management degree through there, but I also took a lot of media courses. I did graphic design, I did website design, I did video editing. And honestly, I was like maybe two art classes away from getting an associate's in that too.
That's awesome.
So, but art was not my thing, and I knew I was gonna struggle with it. So, but I got my skills, through those classes. So, kids, if you ever get a chance to take media courses, do it, because nowadays it pays off. So at the end of the Legend season, I was already working for the radio station part-time.
Okay.
At the end of the Legend season, I get a call from Chris Cross, who had the sports huddle on ESPN 1300. And he said, Tiny. I was like, hey, Chris, what's up? He said, I got a proposition for you. So what's that? He said, I need a new afternoon producer. I said, oh, yeah? He said, yep. He said, you would book our guests. You would either go on site or stay in studio, depending on what you and the other producer work out. He said, but it'd be a full-time gig for you. Do you want to do it? And first thing that went through my mind, full-time, yes. Yeah.
I need this job.
I mean, I got lucky because I was already in with it,
And what people don't realize is full-time communication jobs are hard to come by. Mm-hmm. You can get internships, you can get all kinds of stuff in communication, but it is hard to come by a full-time communications job.
Right. Especially nowadays when let's face it, radio is on the downward slide. As unfortunate as it may be. I'll give you a great example. Our other color commentator, DJ Otis Badass, right? He is the only local DJ for WKQQ.
Wow.
Everybody else is satellited out.
Wow, that's actually crazy.
So, used to be you would have local DJs everywhere, but now everybody just sends their crap in. Yep. And you can tell too when it's not local because they don't have like any local flair.
Yeah.
Otis is really good about shouting out events going on, giving shout outs to like the University of Kentucky hockey team. Mm-hmm. He loved keeping up with those guys, and they had a heck of a year, by the way. Props to the UK hockey team. And, but I ended up just, starting to do that. And, it was about that time, MySpace was still a very big thing. And
you had your top 10 going, didn't you?
Top 8, sir.
Sorry. Top 8.
That was so funny how that killed or made somebody's day. But one person that I befriended a lot online, and plus seeing him at the ball games all the time, Bobby Blade. He came to the ball games all the freaking time. I got to know him through that. I went to a couple of the indie shows he was on. Of course, I was going to the MWA shows when they were at the Continental Inn and stuff like that. Well, 07 rolls around. I'm doing some small ring announcing things with a couple local promotions, and I also worked with, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the name? It was CCW in Louisville. Mark Schneider, he ran that promotion, and he kind of gave me one of my first opportunities to do a festival. We did the Portland Festival in Louisville. Oh, wow. What a crowd. It's a rough crowd, but it was fun. It was fun to be around. So I got to do those shows, and then I did that, and then I actually worked with Shane Mercer and Brandon Valor a couple times with a promotion out of Danville. It was called WWC, I think. I think that was the name of it. And Brian Lawless had run that. I know Bull Payne was a part of it as well. And they were doing shows at there's a Danville Convention Center, which is now Southland Christian Church down there. So we did that, and that was a really nice building, by the way. That was a great venue for wrestling. Yeah, I was like, man, there's so much potential here. I was hoping that'd be one of those places that grew, but it just didn't. And it is what it is. And then Bobby came around and he said, hey, I think KCW might be looking for somebody, or he said they might be going through some changes. And he's like, would you want to talk to him about maybe coming into ring announce? And I said, sure, why not? Let's do it. And in the summer of 2008, I started with KCW.
Now, what was KCW?
Kentucky Championship Wrestling. Yeah, okay. And that was run by Chucky Smooth.
Okay.
Yeah. Chucky Smooth and the Steels. So
yeah, okay.
Very,
you know them well.
It was one of the first.
You said Chucky Smooth. He just.
Is he there?
He just started watching. He just started watching.
He knew we were going to talk about him.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
But it was him and the Steels running the show. We were at the National Guard Armory in Lexington, and those shows really those shows got my I really was able to dig my teeth into those because I was able to help him out with posters. I was able to help out with commentary, and we did commentary a couple times. But of course, I was the ring announcer, and I had a blast doing it. And I met a lot of people, and I met a lot of the people there and at MWA, which really became my wrestling family. Guys like them and Larry D, Bobby Blade, Jim Chadwick, everybody like that, Eddie Browning, Scott Hayes, Chris Hayes. I mean, the list goes on. And, it was those shows that really made me be like, yeah, I love wrestling. This is the best thing ever.
That's awesome.
So, but, and then, I don't know if Bobby's watching, but I'm going to tell on him real quick.
Ooh, all right, get your phones out, record this.
So this has probably been told before, but I think it was maybe my second show with them. First show with them, he would come to the ring, he'd take the mic, back me into the corner, he got in my face. The second night that I was doing a show with him, he backs me up into a corner. And I start smelling something really bad. Like, really, really bad. It's sour. And there's a picture of it on Facebook, but I'm just like this. I'm squinching away. I'm trying not to puke here. The story behind that was he, in the locker room, had a clean bandana and the dirty bandana. And he asked Jim Chadwick, which one should I put on? Chadwick said, "Oh, the dirty bandana." And they backed me into the court. He backed me into the court. I about puked. So next time, just to get him back, I have like a little spray bottle of Febreze, and I just had him at the next show. but that was like one of the best ribs, because just smelling that, I literally almost lost my cookies at the show. So, Bobby, I don't know if you're watching, but yes, I'm telling that
Bobby
story.
Blade is watching.
Yeah. But a couple months later, after working with KCW, I ended up going to the MWA, and I worked both shows, of course. And what?
My Blade said he's gonna puke.
He's going to puke.
But
Get him to call, Bob. Get him to call. Get him to call Superfly.
We'll catch this in the second hour. We're gonna.
Later on. Not
Yeah.
In a second.
But yeah. So, and then with the MWA, we did a lot of shows. We were based out of Winchester at that point, at the Fanny Bush Elementary, which that closed down, became a Christian school, but the building's still there. But the cool thing about the MWA shows was Chris Hayes was very involved with the school there. He was living down in Nicholasville, but the school we were at, he wanted to take care of. And, multiple times throughout the year, we would do something that would help out with the, like they had a dance team that would like to go to events. We would take care of them. We would
fundraiser type stuff.
We would give kids Christmas that
awesome.
that weren't able to have a Christmas, and it was those kind of events that you really, really just felt good about working for that promotion.
Absolutely.
So I did that for quite a few years. And what was it? Are we just going through the timeline here? Is this what we're doing?
Keep going. Keep marching. We are clean through. Let's keep going.
And it was the MWA stuff that we really got to. I got to cut my teeth a lot more as doing graphic design, web design. I maintained the MWA side. I did the pictures for the roster pictures. I did the the Facebook page. I ran it all, and it was really cool because you got to see those crowds grow and grow and grow. And like one of the best shows we had was the 40th anniversary show, and it was a 2-ring show. We had a whole bunch of people inducted into the Hall of Fame. We had a 2-ring battle royal. Bunch of people who had been in the MWA in the past were there, and that was one of the coolest shows. I mean, we I don't know how many people we fit into that gym, but it was wall to wall, and that gym wasn't very big either. It wasn't, but if we could pack them in, we did it. So, and then I guess it was about 2012. I met the acquaintances of John Bullard, and
great guy.
Yeah,
great guy.
yeah, and I got a chance.
Fun John Bullard story later.
Okay, all right, and he came to me and wanted to he came to me with a new promotion idea. It was Pro Wrestling Freedom. He asked me if I wanted to be on board as the commentator, and I said absolutely. And I said, who do you have playing with me to be there with me? He said, I want you, Bobby Blade, and Mickey Knuckles. I was like, okay, all right. It was a cool setup. Our very first show, we had featured Vader.
That's awesome.
It was him and Madman Pondo in the main event, but the thing about that, though, it wasn't about that main event. You know, that show had all of the talent that you needed to run an amazing show before that main event even happened. And that's what people said. Everybody loved what they saw before the main event, and they were like, we'll be back just for them.
Awesome.
DJ, is it DJ? Who is it? DJ?
DJ Easy.
DJ Easy says, Aaron made the theme song for CCW Wrestling that ran Portland, Louisville.
So I didn't actually run, I actually didn't make that one. However, this is what that was. I actually...
He said he barely knew you at that point.
Yeah, no, it's been a...
He says he loves you, by the way, too.
Eric, love him.
We have to have him on the show some.
He's a good man. Good man.
He's one of our biggest fans.
But he, so that was actually a song that was by the band 1,000 Foot Crutch. It was called Fire It Up. And a buddy of mine was actually working with them at the time. And he was doing all their graphic design, all their CD design, all their CD sleeves, and he did their marketing for them. I said, man, I love this song called Fire It Up. And he was like, yeah. I said, I think it'd be great for wrestling. And then, you know, he was just like, I think I can get you a copy of it. Got a copy of the instrumental. That's and awesome. Then I was able to use that. And then I had a radio announcer I worked with that did a countdown for it too. So I put it all together, and it turned out really cool for him.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, you know, working in that industry, you really learn, you know, how to utilize the contacts you have. And I did that a lot with the radio. I mean, I had the chance to kind of bouncing back to radio. You know, for all the stuff I did with them, I had the chance to like interview bands like Theory of a Dead Man, Carolina Liar, Rocco DeLuca. I got a chance to interview all those guys and, you know, see like private concerts and stuff like that, all because of radio, you know. But, you know, and, you know, like, you know, Theory of a Dead Man, you know, a lot of their music was used when WWE was using mainstream bands as their theme songs for their pay-per-views. So, you know, I got to talk to him about that. Really, really cool. But I was at Pro Wrestling Freedom, right?
Yeah. Pro Wrestling Freedom. John Bullard.
Yeah, John Bullard, Jimmy Felcher, got to work with all those guys. I'm gonna tell a story on my wife here. So our third show in, we had Dutch Mantell coming in to do a special referee spot, and Bobby Blade he got to interview him as a part of the Wolf's Den, right? Well, before the show was even getting going, Sarah, my wife, she was doing sound for us for Pro Wrestling Freedom. You know, I supplied all the stuff, but she was doing all the sound and getting everything organized, and she was a huge, huge help. I mean, golly, we couldn't have done some of those shows without her. As she's getting stuff ready for this particular show, Dutch Mantell is out in the crowd area, and this was before doors open. And you know his famous whip. What's his whip's name? Do you remember?
Dutch Mantell's whip. I can't remember.
Shoe Baby.
Shoe Baby.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, he cracked old Shoe Baby, and it cracked right about here. That was Sarah's head. So, whoosh, and she jumped. She jumped, and he fell over laughing. I mean, I've never seen a man that just guffaw because you know he made Sarah jump, and she was just like, I hate him, but not really. I just hate that moment. So,
do you watch his podcast?
What's that?
Dutch Mantell's podcast?
I've seen it a few times. Yeah,
he told a story about that whip, and he chased Paul Heyman around the building with it.
Oh my gosh, that had to be funny. Amazing.
Yeah, it was so funny the way he told it. He's funny. He's hilarious.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you know, and then it was cool with Pro Wrestling Freedom. The thing that I loved about that was seeing the storylines progress. You know, you had Bobby Blade, who was with me on commentary, and he ended up jumping off of commentary because he got to manage Jordan Cage. And that's kind of where that started. Yeah.
The start of the best friendship that lasted
exactly.
a lifetime.
Yeah. And then Mickey was cleared to wrestle again, so she started wrestling. So I'm like, all right, I am a commentator without a partner. So in comes a buddy of mine named Russell Ridenauer, and I'd met with him and started to do some. They had a radio show on the University of the Cumberland's campus called the Figure 4 Fallout, and I'd gone down there and gone on the radio show a couple times to promote PWF, and you know, we ended up getting him on commentary, and you know, he ended up doing that, and then he ended up actually going to be a manager as well, but he'd also double up on commentary. So yeah, we got to call a bunch of great matches together. You know, we had Chuck Taylor was there one time, and you know, he was I think he was wrestling Jason Kincaid that show. Jason Kincaid, man, I started watching him wrestle and just wow. Yeah, he's a great talent. Yeah,
phenomenal talent.
One of the best unsigned talents out there. Period. One of the best. But there were so many great matches, and I think I had one of the most defining moments with PWF in my career. I got to ring announce the main event of their Dream Night event. I believe that was in March of 2013. The main event was Shane Mercer versus Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. Okay. So I did the old school introductions for that, you know, the old school championship introductions, even though it wasn't for a title, but it was the main event. So I put it over like crazy.
Absolutely.
And we ended up, you know, it was a great match between the two. And at the end of the night, you know, I'm up there getting changed and getting out of the ring announcing get up, and he comes over to me. He said, "Can I curse?"
Yeah, on here.
Yeah. Can I curse on here?
Yes.
Well, I won't go full F-bomb, but he said, "You're one hell of an effing ring announcer." And that moment was kind of one of the coolest ones, because at that point he had the NWA title how many times? You know, he was very well traveled at that point, and you know, it was really cool. And you know, he was almost on the downswing of his career at that point, of his in-ring career.
Yeah.
And then it was like 2016. I ran into him again at Rupp Arena when he was producing a WWE live event.
Okay.
And I kind of walk over to where he was at, and he's, you know, they're, you know, finishing up. The show was over, and he just looked up at me. He said, "Corbin, Kentucky 2013. I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "How the hell are you?"
And that for a wrestler that has to make an impact, you know, a lot. I'm sure he in that time of his career was, you know,
he was focused,
a weekend. So you have to make an impact in somebody's mind to be able to call something back. Either that, or he has a really good man, a whole lot better memory than I do.
But yeah, that was really cool. Just that was one of the defining moments. And then I'll tell one more PWF story on myself here. They were doing a takeover angle, and I get a call from Jimmy Felcher. He gives me a ring. He said, "Tiny, I got an idea for you." I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Well, how would you like to take your first bump?" I was like, okay.
I can hear this in my head. I can hear Jimmy.
How would you like to take your first bump? I said, okay, well, what'd you have in mind? So he goes through the whole idea. And he said, we're going to do this takeover. You're going to, all the baby faces are going to come out. They're going to be laid to waste. And then he said, who's going to step up for the company? And he said, it's going to be you, Tiny. And I said, okay. He said, stand up, rip off that tie, rip off your vest. He said, you're going to go into the ring, and then you're going to get caught. And then they're just going to beat you down. I said, okay. And he said, when you're done, just powder out. And I said, all right. So I get up in there, and I get met by Jacob Black. And he pops me right in the chest. I drop down. It's a kick. He kicks me right across the chest. I go down, boot, 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 boot. I'm like, all right, I got to get out of here. I try to get out, and they're like, oh, we're not done with you yet. So Dustin Race has one leg. Derek Neal has another. And I look up between my legs, and it's Mickey Knuckles. And
for those of you who are unaware, that is not a welcome sight.
No. I mean, you look on one side, you got this Hoss and Derek Neal. You look on the other, you got Dustin Race, who was menacing, and just as menacing was Mickey Knuckles. But, Mickey does a stomp. I roll out of the ring after, writhing in pain. Me forgetting how tall that ring was compared to the concrete floor.
It's when you take the comic book drop where you're hanging in air and then all of a sudden you drop out of frame.
Yeah. Well, I didn't pay attention to that, and smack. Again, my wife was doing the audio for us at that point. I didn't tell her I was doing this. So she, at the table, she kind of bends down under the table. She said, you okay? I said, yep. She said, don't ever do that to me again. So, and then, they were going to do this whole storyline with the Fear family taking over and stuff. And I was like, cool, let's make it happen. My next week at work, they're at that point, they're just like, your schedule's changing. And I'm like, oh, crap, there went my Saturdays. So, mind you, in the middle of doing all this, I helped Larry D get Primetime Wrestling going again. That's in like 2008, 2009. And, I was doing the same things that I was doing with the MWA, doing the posters, doing the Facebook, doing music, sound, everything I can possibly think of. And through all that, you had KCW, they decided to call it quits. You had MWA, they had called it quits. Pro Wrestling Freedom had called it quits. Primetime Wrestling was like one of the big consistents, from that 09 to all the way to COVID. They were rolling all the way to COVID. Big props to Larry D and Max Sled for what they were doing with that promotion. And, I was there with them from the time that we started at the Thoroughbred Theater in Midway, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. You probably had 60, 70 people max that could fit in there. But it was such a unique looking venue. Very cool. Just very different. And how I would have loved to use like robot cams back then, because that would have been so cool to have a robot cam in one corner, another corner, and you could have gotten some very good footage of that venue. Then I learned where the middle of nowhere was, in Mackville, Kentucky.
Surely you hadn't started working for Kyle Maggard.
Not at that point. Sorry, Kyle. Nice drop kick. Not at that point. But it was Mackville, Kentucky. It's about 20 minutes outside of Harrodsburg. You had no cell phone signal at all. Doesn't matter what carrier you had. I think Verizon got lucky to have one bar. That's how far out it was. But boy, people started to love their wrestling in Mackville, Kentucky. Yeah. They loved it down there, and it started out pretty decent and just got better and better and better. and then they kind of moved eastward a little bit and went back into Harrodsburg, and then we ended up doing a lot of stuff in Paris at the fairgrounds, and then they got Georgetown at the bingo hall, and that was like the stuff.
A lot of stories of the bingo hall.
Oh yeah, Georgetown and the bingo hall. They that's where they started doing their DVD tapings, and those crowds for those DVD tapings were phenomenal. That's when Bobby, myself, and Otis started working together for the first time. It was those shows right there.
For those of you who have not tuned in to New South Wrestling or Elite Wrestling Alliance on YouTube and heard the trio of Otis, Aaron, and Bobby Blade, you are sorely missing out because it is some phenomenal wrestling commentary.
We have quickly determined our roles. Our roles were, I was kind of like the JR calling the action. Bobby Blade was the Jesse Ventura. He kind of had that Jesse Ventura attitude going on. And Otis has the Mike Tenay thing going. You want to talk about a man that prepares so dang much for his role.
Oh, absolutely.
It's Otis. And it's phenomenal.
I've sat there with you guys in the booth and watched his notes. And he will sit there, where's a pen at? He'll sit there and he'll just stay quiet the whole time. He'll sit there, and then we'll get right to that point and be like, so-and-so has had 37 title defenses in the past 28 days. You're like, how do you keep up with that? Like, yeah, she wrestled 14 times on an empty stomach.
It's like he comes up with the most absurd stuff, and it's
So,
amazing. It's relevant too.
Yeah, exactly. It's relevant. It's not just it seems random, but then you're like, wow, okay, that actually builds so much more into the match.
Yeah.
One of the very first times that I ever really caught on to this, it was Adrian Alexander and I don't remember who she was facing at the time, but he said. His stat was, he said, Ari and whoever it was have faced each other 4 times over the past year, and Ari has won all 4 of them. That builds so much more stakes into this match, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was something that simple that, nobody else at New South knew about that. It was all matches that happened somewhere else, but it immediately built so much more stakes into what's going on in that match in that moment.
And I tell you that the funny thing too, when we started doing those PTW shows with all 3 of us on the commentary team, Otis was ready then, and he didn't have a tablet then. He had printed out notes every time, and we had he gave us a copy of the notes to look at. And, he was prepared. He was ready to go. And, we got to call like a Monsters Ball match, with neat. Larry D and Abyss. We got to call them. Golly, I can't remember everybody they had. But, it was like each show had that one big star that just kind of kept it interesting. But again, they were very good about not pulling the attention away from their core roster. And, after Georgetown, they ended up getting Paris at the, they called it the PTW Sportatorium. And it was a little shopping spot in the shopping center there. And they turned it into something great. Every Sunday night, 6:30. You would expect wrestling in Paris. And I honestly want to say that running wrestling on a weekly basis, when you're not AEW or WWE, you can't. It's hard to do that now.
Hard to sustain that. You
can't sustain it now, but they were able to. They had that core group of guys that came in and wrestled for them. And then, you had the WWA guys come up, too. So you had, Ray Waddell come up. You had Stonewall come up. And, seeing guys like that up here for the first time, it kind of gave it a fresh look, And occasionally they would have the big star come in for a spot. And, I know Andy and you all have talked to Otis about this, but Otis got a chance to spend time with Lanny Poffo, and he was on fire for that. Like that's
an awesome story.
Yeah, great story.
Awesome story.
Yeah. One of the best things. I can listen to him tell that story every night because it was just you can tell how much it meant to him.
Absolutely.
So, and and then that's when like Alex Zane started getting back into the scene. I saw Alex Zane. He was doing a little bit of their social media for him, and I was like, "Holy crap! I haven't seen you in forever."
Such a star. He's such a star.
He is
Such a good wrestler.
And he was just getting back into it because at that point he had been focusing on his music career, and he was just getting back into it. And it was amazing to see the rise he had from that point all the way up to getting to NXT. Mm-hmm. He'd already done some spots in Japan right before the pandemic. Went to NXT. Obviously, that didn't work out, but boy, coming out of that, look how big he became in Japan.
Absolutely.
Golly, big props to him. I talked to him maybe once every couple months or so, or every month or so, just to see how he and the family's doing, and it's
You actually talked to him on the phone or
text him. Yeah,
text him.
Yeah.
Have him call us.
I can talk to him about about coming on sometime for sure.
I appreciate it. That would be awesome.
So,
I'm a big fan of Alex.
Not to mention, he's also got Taco Bell as a sponsor.
Yeah.
His cousin actually works for me.
Johnny, here we go. We're going, Yandy be great for the podcast. Johnny's like, man,
Bring us some
a
tacos.
quesarito right now would smack.
Okay,
some tacos.
real quick. So, obviously, I'm just talking here, but his deal that he had with Taco Bell in Japan. Did you see any of that?
I saw where he had a combo named after him.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. So he had it was the world when they were doing the World Tag League. He had a combo in Japan, and it was like 2 different combos you can get. Apparently, it was a giant hit. I mean, that was so cool to see. Like, I don't think any other wrestler can claim that they had a Taco Bell combo named after them.
Yeah,
I mean, that's amazing. Yeah. It goes to show the influence he had on, the marketing that he does with his career, and it's cool because like, if you look at all the signature moves, he's naming them after Taco Bell stuff, the Baja Blast, the Taco Driver, he weighs in at 630 Supreme Tacos. That's what it is. You can find them at your nearest Taco Bell drive-thru. So it's cool, and seeing him take that rise and the opportunities he's had. When I saw him back at Primetime Wrestling, he kind of had that look, that spark in his eyes, like I'm ready to get going again. And sure enough, he did. He did.
Absolutely kicked it up a notch.
Yeah, he did. He did. So, it was kind of cool because, I got to do some of those, the pay-per-view tapings. And then I ended up going, stepping away from the wrestling business for a bit to kind of focus on the family and focus on a career. And, at that point I was over at, I was doing some full-time work at Best Buy, and it kind of kept me away from the business because obviously if you work retail, if anybody else who's watching, if you've ever worked retail, you know that weekends are off limits. Mm-hmm. There ain't no way you're getting off on a weekend unless you're putting in PTO. Well, that's not sustainable if you're in the wrestling business because you can't ask for PTO every
single week.
Yeah, every single week. Not going to happen. So that was for me. That was my cue that I needed to step away for a while, and I did. And every once in a while, I'll be able to go take in a show or take a little bit of time off and go hang out. And it was pretty cool because at the beginning of 2020 with Primetime Wrestling, I get a call from Larry. He said, hey, Tiny, he said, I got an idea for you. I said, what's that? He said, I think it's time you go in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, me? He said, yeah, you. I said, why me? He said, brother, we wouldn't be where we're at without the contributions you had in the very beginning of Primetime Wrestling to get where we are. And he said, I want you recognized for it. I said, well, I absolutely appreciate it. And yes, I will do that.
Awesome. So
that night, I got inducted into the Hall of Fame with Casey Chaos. And, Casey Chaos, again, another name in the Kentucky wrestling scene that you would see him all the way from KCW to MWA to Primetime Wrestling. All the while he had a tour, a military tour that he had to leave for. And when he came back, he got right back into the business. And, Casey was he's really, really deserving of that honor as well. And, I had the opportunity to get inducted into the Hall of Fame by Bobby Blade. And
that's neat.
That was one of those things that meant a lot to me, because Bobby, we're not only just friends, or not, sorry, let me rephrase that. We're not just cohorts in the wrestling business. We're friends. We talk almost every single day about something. Right now we're talking video games. We're playing the 2K24 video game. We're talking about that, but we're sitting there just coming up with ideas of things we want to talk about this Saturday at EWA. Shameless plug this Saturday night, EWA, Frankfort, Kentucky.
We are getting there in just a second. Top of the hour, I'm going to take a full 10 minutes to plug this show.
Well, get ready. We're almost there.
Oh, I'm amped up here. You see me shaking in the...
You're ready.
I don't know if it's the ghost energy or if I'm just ready to go.
He's ready for it.
So, that was a really cool moment. And then it was kind of neat because 2020 was wild. It really was. I got to do that, and then immediately a week later, I'm flying off to Las Vegas because at the time I was working for Premier Staffing, which they worked with Samsung. So I was a third party for Samsung. My sales were one of the top in the region, and they asked me to go represent our region over in Las Vegas, and I got to see like all the new Galaxy phones come out before they even got introduced to the public. We got to hold them, play with them, work with them, and learn more about them so we could actually take that knowledge back to our teams.
Yeah.
And, it was really neat because, at that point, wrestling was kind of on the back burner because that opportunity, going to Las Vegas, it got me in front of some very high up Samsung people. And there was an opportunity I was going to move up in the company. And then we get to March. Oh my gosh. We get to March 13th. 4 years ago today.
On the day.
We have that moment when all of our stores are shut down. My wife's a school teacher. They're going to start working from home. They're going to start teaching from home. And the whole world got flipped upside down with COVID. My job went away. I worked from home for 2 weeks. I got furloughed. And then we get the call in July. I sat there for 3 months, 4 months with like nothing to do. And we get the call in July because, at that point, we're like, all right, if at some point they're going to have to make a decision. July happens and we get the call. The contract is ended. Samsung has decided to end the contract. Your all's jobs are now terminated.
Wow.
Yeah. So
now you're sitting in a dead market that COVID was. I mean,
Right.
you're in basically a hiring freeze.
Yeah.
With no job. What was the feeling then, you know?
It was a very wait and see situation. I was a little discouraged, but not too much, because at the time we were getting assistance from the state. I was getting unemployment. That was fine. It worked out, but I was missing it. Yeah. I was missing working, and had an opportunity come up, and I worked for a local AT&T store beginning in the fall of 2020, and things were going well until 2021. And as you know, and as quite a few of my friends know, that's in May of 2021. That's when I about died. I had pneumonia that went sepsis, and I was undiagnosed diabetic at that point. And that Wednesday before I went to the hospital, I knew I was feeling really bad, so I went to urgent care, took x-rays of me. They're like, yep, you got pneumonia. They gave me an antibiotic, and they gave me a steroid. Well, me being undiagnosed diabetic at that point, what do steroids do? Jack your sugar up.
Yeah.
So by the time we got to the hospital, my sugar was well over 500, I think.
That is high.
Yeah.
That is high.
I was delirious. I might have remembered maybe getting into a room, and that was the end of that. Yep. And I literally wake up the next Sunday. I was 1 week in a medically induced coma.
Wow.
The first couple of nights, they weren't sure if I was going to make it. But it was that Sunday, my body said, all right, we're not breathing anymore. That was it. So I was put into a medically induced coma, and I had a lot of emotion coming out of that, because you wake up and you've lost a week of your life.
Yeah.
That it's the biggest what the hell moment ever. You've lost a moment of a week of your life, and the road to get back, just to get home at that point, was wild, because I spent like three days in the ICU. After that, they finally moved me into a regular room. I spent like another 3 days there, and then it was time for me to go to Cardinal Hill. And I will be honest, when my wife got to take me to Cardinal Hill, she first had to run by the house. And I was just like, just take me in. I don't want to go up there. I don't want to do this. I want to be in my house. Mm-hmm. And, I was emotionally just all over the place. But, finally, we got up there, and, I was able to start walking again without assistance. I had a walker on me. Every once in a while, I will still have like issues with my legs, because it's like a neurological thing from that. And every once in a while, you might see me walking around with a cane, but it's not going to stop me from doing what I love.
Absolutely.
So
I'm going to cut you off really quick.
Give me a chance to get a drink.
Let you get a drink real quick. We're going to touch on a few things. We're going to come back, because I do not want to take away. This is exactly where I want to pick back up is Cardinal Hill. In the meantime, I am going to take a second. Well, actually, I'm going to take a second and thank the sponsors for the Nice Guy Andy podcast. Like to thank Terry England with UCW. Like to thank Kyle Maggard with AMW. Like to thank Muhammad Jafar, the man from afar, for these lovely, beautiful belts right here. He is also the gentleman that made all of EWA's belts as well. And I think AMW, the past couple belts, may also be through him. Does a fantastic job. Who else am I missing here?
Phenomenal
Livewire, phenomenal finds. Oh, yeah. Man. If you're ever at a UCW, TCW, USWF show and you see their booth set up, man, they are some great people. Go by, talk to them. They're awesome people. Have some really neat stuff set up at that booth.
Yes, they do.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm trying to do all this off of memory. Johnny, you're better at this than me. Who else am I missing?
Also, we'd like to shout out Slap Mob, even though they don't technically sponsor us. They are part of the podcast. They are brothers from another mother. Slap Mob, we love you too.
There we go. And now I'm going to take this opportunity, since I am slightly biased, I'm going to take this opportunity to plug Elite Wrestling Alliance. So there is two awesome times that you can catch Elite Wrestling Alliance this month. We have got in just 3 more days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in 3 more days, I had to count that to make sure, we have Prime 007.
Sorry.
That's right.
I am so super excited about this card. March 16th, they're at the Thornhill Education Center in Frankfort, Kentucky. 7 o'clock. You're not going to want to miss this. The matches that have been announced so far are the main event is the Heritage title being defended. Gaston Leroux, his first title defense as Heritage champion against the young upstart Ethan Heyer. Somebody that has impressed me so much in the few short months that he's been in Elite Wrestling Alliance. That kid has it.
I'm going to say this. This match is going to be worth the price of admission alone.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to every single one of you out here. If you've not been to an EWA show, number 1, shame on you.
That's right. Shame on you.
Number 2, this is the perfect time to pick it up because this match that you're going to see with Gaston Leroux and Ethan Heyer, it's going to be great. Somebody's
calling
ringing.
in.
Someone's trying to call in.
Go ahead.
So yeah, that's gonna be an amazing match. Again, if you haven't been to a show, this is the perfect opportunity. Move on.
Absolutely, I am, and if you haven't had the opportunity to watch Gaston Leroux live, that man is a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah.
Whether you like or dislike his actions as of late, he is a phenomenal wrestler. This is going to be a main event match that I know. Probably both Aaron and I, Johnny, we're all going to be talking about for a long time. You will not want to miss this.
That's right.
Guys, I tagged everybody. If you were looking for EWA Elite Wrestling Alliance, I tagged it in the messages. So if you're
thank
watching,
you.
Go check out Elite Wrestling Alliance. Go check out Elite Wrestling Alliance on YouTube. You want to this is your first time coming to a show. You want to get caught up with what's going on, or you're not close enough to make a show. There is a whole show on YouTube that covers all of it with the voice. Aaron Rose right there calling the action. You can get caught up with everything going on. Another Ben Sheeran brand member, Alex Angel, is going against a returning Matt Atreya.
Matt Atreya is back. I haven't seen him in months.
Exactly.
And he is back. What does he have in his mind? What's going on? He's going right after the muscle behind the Ben Sheeran brand and Alex Angel, somebody who has just recently come back himself and has been looking dominant.
That's going to be one of those matches that's going to be a hard-hitting bout. Sorry.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a hard-hitting bout between two very physical wrestlers.
I've been in the ring with both of them. They hit hard.
Yeah.
They both kick hard.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be meaty men slapping meat. It's going to be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss this.
Big E will want to check in.
But wait, there's more. If you call in the next 5 minutes, we'll double your offer. No, I'm looking for another match here. Oh, there it is. We have a triple threat match. I'm super excited about this. Saturn Price, one of probably my favorite hybrid. I'm going to call him a hybrid wrestler. He's a lot like the style almost like Zodiac works, man. He's quick. He's big, but he's deceptively quick. So just power and speed all wrapped up into one. Saturn Price is going up against Joseph Miles, somebody who has also really impressed me here lately. Just spunk, tenacity, speed, style. He's a young star in the making at EWA. And throw into the mix the international star that is Braxton Hunter, all the way from Louisiana. If you have not seen Braxton Hunter's work, This man is phenomenal.
I'm excited to see Braxton Hunter. This is my first time seeing him in action, so I'll be excited to call that along with Bobby. And I think Otis is supposed to be back.
Otis may be back.
And it depends what's going on with the radio stuff. I get it. Otis.
We might have a wild Austin Meddler in and out there too.
And Mr. Trippin' Balls.
Absolutely, Mr.
Hell
Trippin'
yeah.
Balls from X, not Twitter anymore. We
Yeah.
can't say Twitter. X.
Twitter, X formerly known as
cancel.
Twitter.
Also, Crush Your Bones' son.
Yes.
Yes, and that's exciting. This is his first opportunity at commentary, correct?
Right. He's getting set. So he's getting set to call Paul Cade up at Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Shout out to Chad French.
Absolutely. So, we said, hey, how would you like to come up to the booth, work on your chops, get yourself ready for Paul Cade? He said, whatever you need me to do. I said, okay.
I am very, very
Guys,
excited.
the legend Rated X is watching us.
Jimmy.
Absolutely.
Hey, Jimmy.
Shout out to USWF.
The legend.
So that's something very, very excited for. It is going to be fast-paced, high-octane action. If you enjoy watching just action nonstop, I had to switch some words up there to keep from getting,
Yeah, I got you.
But it's gonna be exciting. I am so excited. And last but not least, here's the most interesting piece of information going into 007. I know a lot of you guys were really excited to see the big culmination between Steel Wool Lexi Green and Tony Corral and Morgan Jane. Unfortunately, Tony Corral is now unable to make 007, which means Morgan Jane has got to find a tag team partner. She has had since about Monday. We notified her on Monday that she has to find a tag team partner. So I don't know who it is. You don't know who it is. Johnny, is it you?
Don't know.
Andy,
Could be Johnny. Could be Andy.
Maybe, yeah.
Could be Andy.
I like to
not
tag
me.
with her.
But she's got to find a tag partner. So I think it's going to be a game time decision. It's coming down the line. So
Who are they going up against, though? Steel Wool and
Lexi Green.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Lexi Green always likes me to remind her, or to remind folks that she is my favorite wrestler.
Oh, Lexi Green's
With the
awesome.
threat of
It must
bodily
be
harm.
true.
She's
It must
awesome.
be
With the
true.
with the threat of bodily harm. I'm just.
I
like
would
your
be
story.
very, very
She was
serious.
actually in studio, and I was sick. I couldn't make it to that show.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah,
She patronized this guy that was on here, and she literally got underneath his skin the entire time. It's a pretty cool show.
Well, we're going to go one step farther than that, all right? So this weekend, awesome show. March 16th, Thornhill Education Center. There's that and so much more. I hear that Clayton Cannon is also issuing an open challenge.
Okay.
He says that he is just as good a champion, if not better, than Marty Clay, and will take up the reins and issue his own open challenge. So that's exciting. There's more. There's all kinds of action happening. Make sure you get your early access tickets to get that exclusive pre-show match, the meet and greet, all that fun stuff. Get in 30 minutes earlier than general admission. Let's take this a step further, right? 2 weeks after this Saturday, the monumental first show for Elite Wrestling Alliance in Richmond, Kentucky, Colonel Clash. March 30th, they're at the Telford YMCA.
Wow.
This is going to be fun, guys. Let me tell you, this is exclusive Nice Guy Indie Pod. I love to wait right until we're right here to release exclusive information. You ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm
All
ready.
right, so we have the announced superstars so far of Gaston LaRue, Clayton Cannon, Marcus Johnson, Zodiac the Mystic.
Love him.
But here we go. Let's take this just a step further. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Can I get a drum roll? The headliner,
Yeah.
Chris Michaels,
Hell
will
yeah.
be
Oh,
in
wow.
Richmond, Kentucky,
Wow.
March the 30th. How
Wow.
exciting is that? Playing right off of his match. Let's see here. He's this weekend he's facing Stan Sierra for the USWF Championship. In a couple weeks, I'm pretty sure in a couple weeks he'll be in Fleming Neon.
Next Friday night, again, Stan Sierra, Fleming Neon. This time, it's in a cage.
In a cage, and then he's gonna come right down.
He just won some medal, didn't he? He won some
the
gold, right?
I'm pretty sure. Tell me if I'm wrong. It was the UCW
Ultimate
Championship.
Yep. Ultimate Champion.
Terry needs to correct me on that, but Caverna Super Show is an awesome show. He will be coming off the heels of those monumental matches. He will be coming down to the Telford YMCA. You are not going to want to miss the headliner, Chris Michaels. And I'll give you another cool little piece of information here. Right here on these brand new tickets, guys. Get your tickets as soon as possible. These are floor seats right here. They are limited seats available. But let's take a closer look right here. What do you see, Andy? What do you see right there on the center of that ticket?
Oh, Marvelous Marcus Johnson.
That's right. The main event for March 30th is Marvelous Marcus Johnson, the Richmond hometown boy, is taking on the EWA champion, Ben Sheeran brand member, Clayton Cannon, in the main event.
Ben is going to, if Marvelous ends up winning that, Ben is going to be so pissed.
Can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine the hometown boy takes the strap off?
What are you going to do with those tickets there,
well,
Adrian?
That's where we're going with this.
Adrian's got two tickets here.
Exactly.
2 floor tickets. This is a $30 value right here. This guarantees you down right in front of the action. There are very, very limited seats there on the floor. Everything else is bleacher. You want to get down there in front of the action, you can either do one of two things. You can contact Elite Wrestling Alliance. You can contact myself. You can contact Joseph Miles. He also has some tickets there at the Adams Buick and GMC dealership. Go check them out. This is Colonel Clash presented by Adams Buick and GMC. But you don't want to go to the trouble of doing any of that. Here's an opportunity to win 2 free tickets. Everybody likes winning. Everybody likes winning some tickets, right?
They do.
We just gave away some tickets to Monday Night Raw the other day, if I'm not mistaken.
We
did.
We have some tickets away to Monday Night Raw.
So guess what we're doing this month,
We
right?
gave away New South tickets before.
New South tickets.
Yep.
Guess what we're doing? We're giving away 2 floor tickets to the very, very, very first show at the Telford YMCA in Richmond, Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Stay tuned, because these right here are staying with this man right here.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I get to give these away?
Mr. Nice Guy Andy himself gets to give these tickets away, his choosing. You guys stay tuned.
Wow.
Stay on Facebook. See how he decides. He's the big cheese over here. He's gonna figure out how to get
He
away
is the big
these
cheese.
tickets.
He does like to smell it.
You may be liking, sharing, subscribing. You know, he's gonna make you do whatever he wants you to do to
We
get
like
these
to make him jump
tickets.
through hoops.
Dance, little puppets, dance.
Stay tuned, guys. This is
We'll
exciting.
come up with something interesting.
This is very exciting.
This is awesome, guys. I'm telling you, I am so excited. And like I said, I'm biased, right? I'm going to take the next 10 minutes to just plug this.
Exactly.
But this is awesome. Aaron Rose will be there. Bobby Blade will be there. The Nice Guy Andy podcast will be there in
That's
some
right.
form or fashion. I think Andy said he may have some prior engagements, but I'm sure Johnny will be there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that John Johns will probably be
Yep.
there if he's
I'll
not
try to be
cooking.
there. I'm
going to
try to be there.
And our security guard's going to be there too, Chris Young.
Chris Young, we can't forget about Chris Young. I'm pretty sure the other hometown boy, the Outlaw himself,
Yep.
Oh.
Chris Blade may
Chris
just
Blade
happen
be in
to
the
be
house.
there.
He will.
I'm telling you guys, this is exciting stuff.
That match, Marvelous Marcus Johnson versus Clayton Cannon, that's going to be phenomenal.
That's worth the price of admission
price
right
of
there.
admission. Price of admission for sure.
The thing about Marcus Johnson, wherever he goes, once you hear that Cupid shuffle start, everybody's on their feet. Everybody loves Marcus Johnson. So Richmond's own Marcus Johnson against Clayton Cannon for the title. I'm excited.
He had the entire Caverna show on their feet clapping.
He did in Bergen too.
They were clapping for me.
Exactly.
They were clapping for me.
They were
get that
clapping.
straight.
Yeah, they were clapping for you.
Adrian was.
You showed Marcus Johnson what's for. He decided to turn his back on you, so you ran up and you
Adrian's a
showed
very
him and you said, "Hey, don't turn your back on me."
Once again, the conspiracy strikes again.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure it's a conspiracy against
When you was
me.
showing him the two, and and he
stepped forward into my face.
He did step forward. I
saw that.
You were like, give me 2 minutes, and he poked himself in the eyes with
And when the match started,
what an awful guy.
Why would you try to dance in the middle of a match? You know,
I know,
you
right?
dance, you trip, you fall into my fingers. I'm sorry.
and when the match
it's terrible.
started, he turned his back on you, and you're like, hey,
You never
we're
turn
not
your back
going
on
to
your
let that
opponent.
happen.
You never turn your back on your opponent.
Exactly. You just
Anyway.
letting the man know.
Needless to say, if you missed the Caverna Super Show, you missed
Oh
an
my
awesome
God,
show
you missed
from
a
top to
whole.
bottom.
It was
You
great.
missed a great show. That was just an incredible show. Terry England, you're a legend in your own mind.
Legendary Terry.
He's got to take off his shirt tonight. Calm down.
Who?
He's got to take off his shirt tonight. Calm down.
Who is?
Terry.
Oh, Terry's
He
You
will.
can't pump him
Terry's
up that
awesome. Hulk out, Terry. Did you see him in the ring dancing with Hillbilly Jim?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was so great.
I'm surprised he didn't make Hillbilly Jim pay him $2 after that dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe me, he got money out of him some way.
Oh
somehow.
man, he was in the back going. He was so he had some of the money from the concessions, and he's.
All right, getting back on track here. This is exactly what I'm talking about, guys. If you're not out here checking your nearest independent wrestling promotion, you're missing out. You're missing out on classic moments like
They really
Hillbilly
are.
Jim dancing with Terry England. You're missing classic moments such as Clayton Cannon winning the EWA Championship. You're missing classic moments such as Zodiac getting unmasked by Chris Crow. I mean, all of this is happening all across the state. Get out and go enjoy wrestling. We enjoy it.
That's
Ben
right,
Sheeran,
we do.
Ben Sheeran is actually watching. Ben, what's up, bud?
Commissioner Ben Sheeran.
Hi, Ben.
He's tuning in to try to make sure that y'all are putting him over because y'all ain't. He's gonna have to do the Ben Sheeran thing.
He has to keep up with the EWA business. I'm sure he's watching us very closely. Hope he's okay with me giving these tickets away.
I'm sure he'll be okay with it.
You know how he is. Penny pincher.
Stingy.
He is
All
stingy.
right, let's get back on track here and get back to our guest of the hour, Aaron Rose. For those of you who are just joining us, we have been on a walk through Aaron Rose's career, starting with calling hockey.
Right.
Chris Crow's on here now too.
What up,
Chris
Chris?
Crow, of course, I just put him over, and now he's going to get on here.
Did someone say Chris Crow? Yes, we did, Chris.
The ears are good all the way down in Nashville.
But starting there with calling hockey as a young high schooler, all the way up until now, you have you've found your place in professional wrestling. You've done commentary, you've done announcing. You took some time away, and then here we are, starting in 2021, waking up from a 1-week coma,
Right.
having to relearn to walk again.
Yeah.
Let's start right there in Cardinal Hill. You know, what was the thought process? You know, was it, you know, how am I going to get back to living a normal life? How am I going to get back to wrestling? Like, where were you right then?
I'll be honest, wrestling was not on my mind at all. 100% not thinking about it in the slightest. The focus at that point was, number one, to learn to walk again. Number two, to get home. That's where I was. My mindset was, I'm ready to be home. That's it. So first day of therapy, you know, it's literally just seeing what I can do without the assistance of having a walker, you know, just seeing how I can do that. It's so weird having to be wheeled around everywhere in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. It was so weird. But you know, I was able to get around and you know, not use the walker, and I did that pretty well. You know, within maybe 2 days, I was cleared to actually move around in my room without any assistance.
That's awesome.
Which was great, and that was a step in the right direction. Yeah, they did occupational therapy with me. So, you know, for those of you who don't know, occupational therapy is basically getting your brain to work again, making sure that, you know, you can do your everyday stuff. You can brush your teeth. You can wash your hair. You can take a shower. You know, and the thing was like I had to learn how to do all that because, you know, my brain wasn't functioning like it should have. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I did some occupational therapy and, you know, they were really testing my brain. And, you know, thankfully I was able to kind of check out of that. And, you know, things progressed really well, really quickly. And I was only there from Saturday to Friday, so 6 days. And I was able to make it home. I was still out on FMLA from my job at AT&T. And I ended up, well, there went that, huh? I ended up at that point it was, you know, I was on FMLA to like to July or August, so I had some time to keep recovering. I had a lot of doctor's appointments and stuff like that. All the while, my parents were really wanting to move down to Winchester, so they started looking at houses and things like that. And it was on July 7th, or July 6th. My parents were down, and they found a place. The morning of July 7th, they were getting ready to sign off on a place. And then the afternoon of July 7th, my dad passed. And so 2021 was a year of, oh gosh, you know, just everything was just rough. And, you know, to this day, you know, I go back and look at that. I'm just like, how did I make it through that? You know, how did that happen? How could I do that? But I did. I made it through. And, you know, my dad, you know, before he had died, you know, we have really gotten into some deep conversation. And, you know, he was like, you know, one of the things he asked me was like, do you miss wrestling at all? I said, yeah, I kind of do. He said, promise me one thing. I said, what's that? He said, make a good run at it again. I said, I think I can do that. So, you know, I did, and you know, obviously here we are. But
let's actually
we'll go through that. Yeah.
Well, there's something specific I want to talk about. So
okay.
The first night, I'm pretty sure the first night you were back was with New South Wrestling, correct?
Actually, it was going to be, and then I got a last second call to work Gen Next Pro Wrestling.
Gen Next. Okay, so Gen Next, you're there. You are now post 1 week being in a coma. You've had to relearn to walk, operate. Did that affect what you were doing behind the desk, or did it just come back naturally?
So I came back in 2022. But let me bounce back one more time though. I met Tony Presley again because I didn't mean to, but I left him out at the beginning because he did run New South in Frankfurt from 08 and 09. I worked with a lot of promotions, but Tony and I had already had a pre-existing relationship. He saw me we went to a show in Georgetown at the brewery.
Yeah.
You might know who we're talking about.
I sure do.
Yep. It was kind of cool because it was OVW. I got a chance to see people that I had known in the business from years before. Mm-hmm. And obviously, when I see them, they're freaking out because they're like, why the crap are you on a cane? You know, what happened? So I had to tell a story. I've known Maria for years. I've known Ronnie for years, Ronnie Roberts, So I told that story and, just kind of let them in on what was going on. Well, I sat with Tony, and Tony was like, I just want you to know something. I said, what's that? He said, I'm thinking about getting New South going again. I said, really? He said, yep.
The ears perk up.
Yeah. He said, would you be interested? And I said, I don't know at this point. I'm not sure. Because at that point, that was August. I actually started a brand new job And I was finally able to work that Monday through Friday schedule that I've been
Back
so dying
again.
for.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Thank goodness.
You've been missing for almost 2 years at
right.
this point.
No,
Well,
no
you're-
6 years.
Oh, okay.
Or no, 5 years. 5 years, yeah.
Oh, you're talking Monday through Friday. No, I'm just
Yeah.
talking about a job period.
Job period. Yeah,
it's been
it was just a few months because it was from May to August when I was just trying to recover. So, and my ears perked. I was like, okay. I said, I'm not sure yet, but just, stay in touch. January, he said, I'm making the move. You want to do it? I said, yep, I'm in. So we had that first show scheduled in, I believe it was in March, the beginning of March.
Yeah.
A week before, Larry D and Gen Next Pro Wrestling, they were having a show, and they're like, hey, do you want to come ring announce? And I said, sure. So that first show back, it was different because I wasn't, there was ring rust for sure. Most definitely there was some ring rust, but I thoroughly enjoyed, being back at Gen X because that gave me the opportunity to get my chops back, figure out how well my voice can go, and just kind of got me ready for that New South show. And then that very first New South show, I have the opportunity to introduce, Larry D and Billy Gunn in the main event. Like, wow, just okay. Just kind of something you weren't expecting there. And then, I have the opportunity to work with or to announce with a lot of different great people to begin with. I met a lot of people that I currently know now. That's when you and I really first sat down and got to talk. Was the second show, I believe.
Yeah, the second show. We met briefly, I think, with Henry Shaw's promotion.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and because I went down to watch some of that, and then, and then you had guys like Jerry Lawler, Doug Gilbert. You had Billy Gunn again. You had the boys, Brent and Brandon.
Yeah.
Tate, you had the Gun Club, and that was just the first two shows.
Yeah, James
Storm as a surprise, Carlito, yeah, it was for an announcer that was like, oh holy crap, this is wild. Toa was there.
That was the third show, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Fourth.
He took on Larry too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that was actually my first, one of those shows there was my first interaction with Jordan Cage.
Yeah.
And just a phenomenal dude.
Yeah, Jordan Cage was, me and him go back a long time too. I mean, golly, we actually worked together outside of wrestling at one point. But he, me and him traveled the road a lot together. We went to a lot of different shows, especially whenever the MWA traveled, stuff like that. So me and him go a long way. We rode up to like a lot of the NWF stuff together. Cage is like another one of my confidants in wrestling. We've really, really gone up and down the road together. And, I'll never forget, the fact that when I was sick, when I was in the hospital, I was recovering, he was there when I was in a coma. He was there. And he was there, to visit when I was doing better. And so was Medler. Medler was another one of those. And that was, that kind of stuff I remember, Yeah. I might have been foggy as crap during that.
Stuff sticks out.
But that stuff certainly sticks out. So,
absolutely.
But, I had all those opportunities. And then let's see here. Later in 2022, I had the opportunity to do the XCF shows with Shane Mercer. So I got my first shot at the arena. Oddly enough, I got COVID after that.
You know what? I can totally understand that.
I got COVID after that show.
The arena has a dear, dear part of my heart, but it also may have gotten me a heart disease in the process.
The arena is awesome.
So yeah, I got to do that show, and then in May, was it May? Was our first one?
April.
That's right.
Somewhere around that time in November, December, you were getting a call from somebody that was getting ready to start up a brand new promotion.
That's right. EWA was definitely in the works, and I was approached to lead the commentary team. Me and Otis, it was kind of the first idea was me and Otis, but Otis wasn't able to make a few of those first shows. And then Bobby, stepped in, and then we were like, you know what, dang it, let's just turn it into a three-man team.
What's funny about that whole thing was when I approached you, I shortly after that also approached Bobby, and Bobby said, this is my last year, I'm retiring, I'm not coming back again.
He's always saying that.
And you approached me and you were like, so Otis can't make it. Are you okay with Bobby being on commentary? And I was like, yes, I'm okay with Bobby being on commentary. I thought he was retiring.
Thought he couldn't make it.
So, and that's where we went from there. It's been awesome. When Otis couldn't make it, Bobby's been there. You guys with the 2-man team and then the 3-man team. It has been phenomenal. Unfortunately, those first few shows aren't documented, but you guys, from what little I was able to watch and listen, the commentary, those first few shows were almost chaos because you didn't know exactly what was happening. The stories have all built off of April. Everything's built from that original show. So it was, especially with us starting with that Rumble.
Yeah.
That 19-man Rumble to cap off the start of EWA. It was wild. The last 5 minutes of just Marty and Omega just going at it was incredible.
It was pretty amazing. And we really developed, and we've developed into a great team, Otis, Bobby, and I, and you can sit down and ask Bobby, and Bobby, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. But you've said multiple times that this run in commentary is probably one of your favorites, and I think we've really, really meshed and turned ourselves into a team that it's hard to be matched. It really is.
Absolutely.
And the thing is I'm not doubting, or I'm not trying to put down anybody else I work with. I've worked with Nick Manawa. Holy crap, me and him have great chemistry. I've worked with Mose down in Next Generation Wrestling down in Tennessee.
You've worked with Adrian Alexander at New South.
Well, give me a second. Dang, dude.
I got to put myself over. Come on.
I'm getting
It's my
there.
show.
I'm getting there. But that's the thing, though. I've worked with those guys. But then when we're doing the arena shows at New South, it was one of those things where Bobby kind of got pushed back into managing a little bit, and we weren't going to have him for the entire show. So that's where you came in, and that good threesome became a good threesome with substitutes.
Everybody loves a good threesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew you were going to do that.
I had to do it.
I was listening to what I was saying. I was like, shh.
We built up on it.
Yeah.
I've been here in the studio too long, guys. I'm sorry. Keeping it PG-13 from here on out.
But we were a good trio, and with Bobby, Otis, and I, and you turned into a good trio with you, Otis, and myself. The thing is, I don't think I've ever had you and Bobby together, have we?
That's the thing that I want to see.
I want to have you and Bobby together one time.
One good time.
Yeah.
Never been in the booth with Bobby. I think it would be awesome.
I think it'd be great. And
I think we would end up getting into a screaming match over somebody's Hurricane Rana, and it would be all over.
No, he should have better. But no, I feel like it's untouched. It really is. Doing all this I've gotten the opportunity to kind of expand my horizons. AMW came along. Kyle Magger came along with AMW, and he said, "Hey," he said, "I need a good producer." He said, "We're getting ready to do our shows live." He said, "I need somebody to keep the chaos."
Yeah.
And he said, "I'll take care of the chaos of the locker room. I need you to take care of the chaos of the media." And that's what it's turned into. I've gotten the opportunity to work with AMW since, what was it, September?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, September. And that was at Breathitt County. And, that was my first taste of seeing the D&D guys, watching them do their thing.
And mountain wrestling at its finest. I mean, that is something completely different out there.
The thing about mountain wrestling compared to what other promotions you see in Kentucky, AMW has an aura about them that whenever they're in town, whatever their town they're in, that's the spot to be.
That is the thing happening in whatever town they're in.
Right. They had in Breathitt County, they about filled up the bleachers. And when we did Pikeville at one of the elementary schools, bleachers were full.
Pretty sure it was Pike. It may have been Breathitt County or Pikeville. I don't remember. It's probably one of the loudest crowds.
Yeah.
And that
was it the King of the Mountains tournament?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Probably one of the loudest crowds, and that I would put that up against 600 people in Caverna High School last week.
Yeah,
that was Jackson, the king of the tournament. Was Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
That's Breathitt County.
Yeah, okay, my fault.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. The sound in that building.
Oh yeah,
it was nuts.
It was pretty awesome, and I'll tell you what.
They have a great building there for that.
Absolutely.
I really, really like Kyle's setup too. It's branded. He does these Supercard Series events, and when it's a Supercard Series show because you got that big apron that says Supercard Series.
Yep.
You know it's a big deal.
Branding is so important.
It is, and EWA, New South, AMW all have branding on point. You know what show you're at. When give it to OVW too. Their branding is good. Yeah, and obviously, they've been around for a long time.
They've been branding for quite a while.
They've been able to do that. But all these promotions, the ones I'm involved with, the branding is top notch. It's not just a banner here and there. It's it's aprons. It's entryway, it's pull-up signs, it's the big flags, and I'll tell you what, big shout out to Thomas Williams.
Absolutely. Tom Williams has been phenomenal on getting us set up with this brand.
He has hit a gold mine with that custom pro wrestling products. He really has, and he's really helping promotions all over the place bring their game up.
What's his business name?
It's the Custom Pro Wrestling Products. And
Custom Pro Wrestling Products.
And he runs War Wrestling as well.
Yep. Custom Pro Wrestling Products is where we have all of our aprons there at EWA, our entrance banners, our brand new entrance curtain that's getting ready to show itself this weekend.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Here's another cat out of the bag. Our new aprons and canvas and a lot of new stuff that's about to come around here in the next couple months is all coming from Custom Pro Wrestling. Yeah. It is awesome. If you ever are in the market for anything that has to do with wrestling rings, wrestling entranceways, anything you're starting out, you're running a show, and you just want information on how to set up or what looks good, Tom Williams has been around for a while running wrestling shows. He runs a very, very successful show in War Wrestling. he's the man to go talk to. Shoot him a message. I guarantee you he will message you back and give you all the information he knows.
Yeah. I mean,
Phenomenal.
It's amazing work. 100% amazing work.
We're gonna go ahead.
And again, he's gotten that opportunity to really amp up other promotions.
Absolutely. We're going to get right back to that in a second. I did want to say that we are in the last 15 minutes of Talking in Circles. That means the line is now open for phone calls. You got questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to say to Mr. Aaron Tiny Rose in the next 15 minutes. You've got 15 minutes left to do it. We're 14 and counting right now.
Johnny, hook your phone to the...
Johnny's hooking his phone up. He'll give us that number here in just a minute. We'll keep talking about all kinds of stuff that has to do with wrestling.
Okay, Johnny? Is that okay?
In the meantime, if you want to call. We'll talk to you. Tell us a funny joke. If you can get Aaron to laugh, you win $100 straight out of Aaron's pocket.
Nope, I don't have that money. let me tell you this. You know, one of the best things that I've come up on since I've been back in the wrestling business is some of the friendships that I've gained, and on top of that, some of the friendships that have been rekindled, and you know, it's kind of cool now because your first guest that you had on Talking Circles, Mr. Dan Childers, become a great friend of mine, along with you know, Bobby Blade and Jack Medler, Austin Medler. We all go to breakfast once a month now. You know, I kid you not, our brunch, we have a name for our brunch. It's called the Brunch Bunch with the Working Punch. You know?
That's funny. Y'all should brand that.
But we all go, we sit down and we enjoy each other's company once a month.
I want that as a podcast.
Oh, wow.
You guys sit around brunch.
Oh, man, that'd be awesome.
Y'all should let me come and set up some mics for that.
That could be fun.
Yeah, we can be.
But, you know, we've had the opportunity to really sit down and just talk wrestling, talk life. And, you know, my time in wrestling now is better than it's ever been.
The boss is watching. Anthony Presley's watching.
Anthony Presley.
Hey.
Oh, talk good about him now.
What's
man.
up, Mr. Anthony Presley? How you doing?
Oh, I'm hearing some. Where are we? Where are we coming in at?
was
So
me, I
in this
think.
meantime, while we're working on getting phones set up and everything, I just like to take another second, if you're still with us and you didn't catch it earlier, this weekend, that is March the 16th, Saturday there at the Thornhill Education Center, EWA presents Prime 007. Yes, it is a reference to...
Da-da-da-da.
There we have
Sorry.
it. My sound effects, we don't have a fancy pad like Nice Guy Andy, so all my sound effects have to come from my guest.
That's right.
Future guests, listen up. You know.
And who's on the line?
Oh, do we have somebody on the line?
Yes, we do.
Matt, let's turn them up.
This is.
Oh,
Yeah, you got to turn.
Is that Kyle?
No, this is not Kyle. This is the meanest, cheatingest, choking us out, poking us, crotch kicking us, your mama sticking us, spitting on babies, smacking old ladies. One man domestic disturbance, the man, the myth, the living legend, the true old school icon, and the man you paid to see, Lone Wolf Bobby Blade.
Very nice.
My
Hey, partner, how's it going?
goodness.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've heard my name mentioned so much tonight that, Adrian, we're going to have to start talking about some royalty payments here.
I tell you what, we'll take it out of Andy's check, okay?
Well, that's fine. As long as I get a check with my name on it and your name signed it, I'll be fine with that.
Hey, I'm good at doing autographs, brother. We'll pick something up.
Bobby, are you ready for this weekend?
I'm always ready for this weekend. Big EWA show this weekend, Prime 007. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
Until
Where's the sound effect, Tiny?
Da-da-da-da.
There you go. Adrian, I thought you were going to try to have a good show tonight. Why'd you have Aaron on?
Well, I had already went through about 4 or 5 other people, and I was I was
No,
getting desperate, and I had to
don't.
have a guest, so I guess it's what we settled for. But he is, in my opinion, quite possibly the best commentator out of the three. So at least I got something.
Excuse me. Pardon me. I mean, I don't think I understood you correctly there.
Well, Bobby, I would hate to insult an old school icon as yourself, but I'm a better replacement than you've ever had.
Oh my gosh! How big is that room? Did they widen the room to fit all those egos in it?
Listen, there's no room for anybody else's ego in here. It's just mine.
I just wanted to.
Oh, it'd be fun. We'd have a blast doing it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to call in and say it's been a great show so far and everything, despite Aaron being a guest on it.
Oh, shut up.
Is Bobby part of the Breakfast Club thing there?
He is.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, the brunch bunch with a working punch. Although one of us might be a little snug with that punch. I don't know who it would be.
We need to get that bunch in here. How many of y'all is there?
There's four of us.
Four of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I got four chairs in the studio here.
Well, if you set up and everything, I'll be more than happy to come in there with the brunch bunch.
Heck yeah.
That would be awesome.
You need a 4-hour time slot just for Bobby alone.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, me and Scott Diamond set the record 4 hours and 13 minutes on the podcast one night.
The only reason they kept talking was, or the only reason they didn't keep talking was because they shut the electricity off in the building.
Pretty much.
There you go, all right, guys. It's time to go.
Bobby, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate you so much. We're so excited to have you at EWA this weekend. I know Aaron has talked about you a lot. You have been in the middle of a lot of his stories. I am very, very excited to have the Lone Wolf Bobby Blade in Talking in Circles very, very soon.
Yes.
We've got some really, really, really neat guests lined up for the next few shows. I am so very excited to see what we can dive into. Bobby Blade, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for calling in tonight.
Oh, you're welcome, man. It's been a great show, and keep it up. You're doing a great job as a host there.
Oh, look at that.
Look
You got
at
a
that,
compliment.
man. That's the second time I've been put over tonight. I don't know if I can make it out of here. Guys, we got 7 minutes left. Call in to... Scroll up. Yeah, scroll up. I don't know your number.
Probably should have announced.
859-684-9535. That is 859-684-9535. It's in the comments. I want you to make sure you star 69 it. That way he has no idea who you are.
That way, yeah. So many people are calling me now.
That's my belt chain. Let's get something straight.
Do we have a new rivalry starting? I watched that video,
Oh,
Jane.
yeah. I want to see that match.
So, unfortunately, you're watching a one Mr. Icon Lee and copying what he does. Let me let you in on something, Miss Jane. You and I haven't had the pleasure of formally having much of a conversation. But if you're watching and trying to do anything that Icon Lee does, I feel sorry for you and the rest of your career as any person behind this camera, because it's doomed. It's doomed for failure. Don't follow what Icon Lee does. Give Johnny the belt back.
It's actually right there.
Johnny,
He got it back.
Did she mail it into you?
She didn't even take it home. I'm sorry. She kept.
She left it. Wow,
She was
that is
delusional.
disrespectful.
Oh,
Exactly.
Disrespectful. What do we got
kept
going
my belt.
on?
Dang. Calamity Jane just
What do we say?
getting
here?
some.
Wait till I get this
okay.
right.
All right. Somebody call in before Jane calls in. We got 5 minutes left.
That's right.
Somebody call in.
I think next show we ought to say, hey, the last 20 minutes is.
Dude, it's the other number.
We got to get the phone number to them
Yeah,
early.
get him a little earlier. I'm new at this here. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
You're doing fine, Adrian.
See,
it's
I
fine.
thought I was doing great. See, look,
You are.
I like him better.
We don't plan much around here, so it goes right with the planning of the show.
Well. Adrian Alexander got a mouth on him, I see.
Did I not tell somebody to call in before she could get to the phone?
You did. He tried to.
Hey, man, I'm quick and I'm slick. You got to try harder than that. Especially if you're going to talk smack on a live podcast. Brother, man. No, we have not met, but saying failure right out the gate. That's almost as bad as saying that I'm not a real person.
Anthony is watching.
Hold on, you're real?
Oh, I know.
Shoot, I honestly, to be honest, I thought it was Sean Johns dressed up.
Oh my God, no way.
You thought I was Sean John dressed up?
Actually, I'm still not. Sean's not here, is he?
He's not here.
Yeah,
No.
Sean's not here
Is it
at all.
Sean? Is it Sean? Sean, quit that.
It is. It's Sean. It's Sean calling in. Oh my gosh. No, he couldn't lace my corset, sweetheart. I'm sorry.
He's nowhere as pretty as you are.
He wore a dress.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I mean, he does look good in heels, but I mean, come on. There's only one Calamity Jane.
Well, Miss Calamity Jane, you have got a total of 4 minutes of airtime left. So since you decided to pull an Icon Lee and steal the belt, let's see if you can do an Icon Lee and try to hijack the show. What do you got?
Well, for starters, I am completely all original, one-of-a-kind gentleman, and I will be back to talk about WrestleMania with these bunch of yokels, a.k.a. jacklegs, as Mr. Terry England likes to call everybody. So y'all be watching out for that, and I'll be tuning in for that as well. Going to check out some shows this weekend, possibly be at EWA, so if you'd like to talk smack in person,
Who said
I might have to make an appearance.
Oh, wow. You're going to be at EWA?
I'm going to be sick that weekend. I may have malaria pneumonia.
That's awesome.
We got about 3 days to come down with it, brother.
Been gets a little bit dislocated.
Start coughing now, man.
Is there
You gotta start coughing now.
My hangnail's acting up.
Do you have any questions for Aaron?
Man, Aaron, thank you. I was tuning in earlier. I'm really glad that you're back at it, man. Just like everybody's thankful to have you.
I appreciate it. It was definitely one of those things that just kind of fell into place. It really was. It could have been, life could have been a whole lot different if it wasn't just for, literally 3 years ago.
Custom Pro Wrestling Products is watching in too. Shout out to Custom Pro Wrestling Products. We shouted you out earlier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll say that one more time. Custom Pro Wrestling Products, Tom Williams, man, absolutely fantastic when it comes to branding. Anything to do with the wrestling ring, entrance setup, anything and all in between. That man is phenomenal.
And Appalachian Mountain Wrestling.
I'm taking this for it's Appalachian Mountain Wrestling. My
That's
goodness.
right.
AMW.
Appalachian Andy.
Well, Jane, I would say it's a pleasure that you called in, but it's better that I'm on this side of the camera and you're on that side. You will hopefully never. Oh,
she hung
somebody's
up
calling.
on you.
Oh, she hung up on me.
Oh, she hung up.
No.
Who's this?
Shout out to Chris Young.
What?
Who is
What
this?
up? What up?
Oh, I know
It's
that
Doo-Doo.
voice. I know that voice.
Doodoo Browning's in the house.
Andrew Browning, you got 2 minutes. What do you got?
I just want to say, what's the beef with Benjamin and Tiny Hoss that's going on there? I saw that video from earlier.
Benjamin and Tiny Hoss? I don't
know. What is it?
Last week, Ben Sheeran was dogging me.
Oh, Tiny, not
Yeah.
Tiny Hoss. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking Jacob Ratliff, and
No,
I was
no, no.
like,
The
what
different
kind
one.
of,
No,
okay.
no.
all right, different
Ben
Tiny.
Sharon has a problem with everybody, so
Yeah.
He's a bum.
He's on a power trip.
Aaron Rose, I want to thank you for what you've done in the wrestling and hockey.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Anthony Presley says, "I'm so happy I got Aaron back in the business. It's
He
been
did.
it's been great for him. Love you, big guy.
Appreciate you, brother.
We miss you,
Yeah, we're-
Anthony. Come on back.
We miss you, Anthony.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much for calling in.
And Adrian is the GOAT.
Yeah, that's right. See, look at that. That's 3 times tonight I've been put over. My goodness. Maybe
right.
I'll do this every week. I'll do this every week just to feed the ego. Thank you, Andrew. Guys, listen, we are coming down to the last few seconds of Talking in Circles with Adrian Alexander. And your guest tonight, Mr. Aaron Tiny Rose. We have walked through an illustrious 17-year career.
Gosh, I feel old.
It has been exciting. If you're just tuning in, go back, start from the beginning. It has been
please watch it over again.
Phenomenal. I am so very excited that I got to do this tonight. It is 11 or 10 o'clock. We're at the end of the hour. It is my time to tell each one of you good night. But before I do, let's take one more second. Let's plug the show this Saturday, Elite Wrestling Alliance 007 there at the Thornhill Education Center in Frankfort, Kentucky. In 2 weeks' time, you have Colonel Clash, March 30th. They're at the Telford YMCA in Richmond, Kentucky. We've got 2 free tickets getting given away here very, very soon in the Nice Guy Andy podcast. Stay tuned for that. I'd also like to shout out Terry England with UCW, Kyle Maggard with Appalachian Mountain Wrestling. I'd like to thank Livewire. I'd like to thank
Slap Mob.
The Slap Mob. I'd like to thank Muhammad Jafar. I'd like to thank Andy and Johnny for having me live here in the studio for the second time. They put up with me once. They invited me back again. And I think a little birdie says this is going to happen again in the future.
Yes, it will.
Definitely.
I would like to thank Aaron Tiny Rose for being here with me tonight. It has been my absolute pleasure to have you on. It has been so much fun. I have loved learning about you. I hope everybody else has loved it just as much as I have. Here in Talking Circles, my name is the Double Ace Adrian Alexander. Thank you all. Tune into the Nice Guy Andy podcast and have a good night.
That's right.
Everybody, I want to ask everybody out there in Facebook land to go over to the Facebook page, like, share, comment on the comments, and go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Please go to all your local wrestling organizations and please support all your local wrestlers. Buy the merch, buy the shirt. If you see it on there, buy it from these guys because they're out there trying to. They're out there. They're giving their bodies to everybody. So thank you, Johnny Lee and Aaron. Adrian. Yeah, Aaron. Thank you for coming.
Adrian.
You're excellent as always. You have definitely have the voice for this. So
yes, he does.
And the Colt County Crushers on here now too.
Hey, Petey was that bird that told you that you'd be having another
thanks
show
everybody for all the stars and all the likes, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the Nice Guy Andy podcast so we can support independent wrestling.
That's right.
And I got some tickets to give away.
That's right.
Tickets. Anyways, you guys go on your little rinky-dink bullshit